Thanks for joining the HomeMatters podcast with Eric and Gena Boggs, where they lead authentic, raw discussions about marriage, family life, kids, intimacy, and sex from a biblical perspective. Now here's your host, Eric and Gena Boggs.
Welcome to HomeMatters. Hey, I just realized looking up there, we are really representing
HomeMatters, HomeMatters.family.
That's right.
And this is Home Matters, Marriage Matters getaway show.
Yeah, that was from one of the getaways.
Yep. And that one is too.
Yep. Unless the Lord builds a house. Man, we've been standing on that verse for decades now, right? Because
that's the way to grow and build a family, right?
That's right. Unless the Lord builds a house,
a marriage,
they labor in vain.
Extended family. If you do it God's way, He helps us.
Thank God He gives us instruction because, man, family life can be complicated,
Something
right?
going on with my...
Uh-oh, you got a crick?
No, my ear things are in-ears.
Oh, having trouble with those?
I think it's just my head. I think I can... did you know that you can cut off, I can actually squeeze my ear canal where I can cut the sound off in this ear? I just did it.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Keep talking. I can do it. Watch.
What does that mean? What are you saying?
I can only hear through my left ear when I cut the sound off. I squeeze my eardrum closed.
Okay, this is not a lesson today on how to close and open your eardrums. Oh my gosh.
But we're glad you're with us today.
We are glad you're with us.
This is podcast like number 36,
yeah. And we were talking last time about parenting, about kids.
Start back there.
Yeah, let's get back into that because
hurry up. Let's go.
Hurry up. Okay.
We're talking about Ephesians chapter 6, right?
Yes.
Raising kids, not provoking them.
That's right.
Nurturing, admonition.
That's right.
And man, we just take off again today with that whole thought. And again, when it comes to raising kids, it's challenging.
That's right.
This passage in Hebrews chapter 12 kind of speaks directly to one of the big deals about parenting. There's so much said about discipline. And I think that is something that there are a lot of experts out there, and I know that there are a lot of people that are psychologically trained or educated in ways that I am not. But I will say this: I've been through the school of raising kids, and looking back on it, I think we could probably speak to that. I wonder sometimes how many of these experts have actually done this stuff.
Actually raise kids.
Yeah, I wonder if it's.
I don't know. But I do know this, there's a lot to be said about wisdom and knowledge that's gained through experience. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of like when you go to college, my degree in college was education. And it's a lot different when you're sitting in an education classroom listening to professors. Man, when you dropped off in the middle of that elementary classroom, then that's a lot different. So a
little different.
I do think there's value in experience. I will say that. But this passage, love it. Hebrews 12:11, and it, as Eric said, coming out of talking about the nurture and the admonition. We said last time that that can sometimes just lend itself maybe to a positive connotation. Yeah. When you think about admonition, but that's also shaping. Right. That's also remaking, and sometimes that comes with some discomfort involved.
Yeah. Okay. It says admonition. There's the word that we focused on toward the end, I think last time, but it's actually encouraging through correction.
That's right.
So let's talk about correction a little bit. This passage today.
Hebrews 12:11.
How do we do that?
No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. The Bible said that.
Yep.
Later on, however, listen to this. It produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those that have been trained by it. I mean, what a promise that's connected to, you read that first part and you're like, oh, discipline, painful, don't like that. Yeah. But the what is produced out of that is righteousness and peace.
Yeah, and even in our relationship with God, our context there, more of a context of his relationship with us, and how he will bring correction in our life.
Disciplines those he loves. That's what the Bible says.
And that is true with the same principle applies to parenting from the aspect of the natural. And I think that what we are really struggle with is the amount or the form of correction, discipline. Those are the things. And we'll just say this, there are a lot of different things that work for different kids. Every kid is different.
That's the point. Every kid is different. You know, Eric and I had 4, and they could not be disciplined or corrected in the same way. It just didn't. The same thing doesn't work with every child, and so. But
it's saying there that discipline actually produces later. It's actually producing over the long haul. It's not something that you just do once and it's fixed forever. It's producing over time. The moment discipline correction is not comfortable, it can cause pain, but at the same time, it's producing righteousness. And when we're talking about that, is again, we're created in the image of God. We should reflect our Heavenly Father. We should reflect His nature, His virtues, His character. Again, all of us should, as followers. Most of you that are listening are probably followers of Jesus, and we hope you are. Encourage you to be, to find Him as the lead of your life. But at the same time, when it comes to how that's lived out in terms of producing that in our children, and again, if we're to bear the image of God, we're to reflect His nature.
Right.
Then it should be that as parents, we understand that is the goal in raising children.
That's so true. Just and in the day-to-day.
Right.
I mean, over and over again. I mean, look at your life with Christ. The word says He chastens the old language, the ones that He loves. His love for us, and Eric says it this way a lot, He loves us too much to leave us where we are, or to not continually be shaping and molding us. And I've heard Eric tell our children so many times as we were raising them, I love you too much to let you act this way, or to let you have that attitude, or to see this, maybe it's some kind of little character flaw you kind of pick up on there, but we love you too much. And that's what God does for us as He parents, as He leads us. And so that's what, in turn.
How we do that, though. And again, how practically, how does that look if we want to raise our children in truth? And it is a daily thing. It's not just a here or there. It's a continual thing. That's the labor of parenting. There's this, you don't get days off when you raise kids. It's just there. It's something that you're always. The truth?
I mean, you can go off.
You can go off, leave kids with grandparents or
but you still get a call, right?
Yeah, it's something you don't.
You're still parenting from afar.
You can't in time in your daily living. You can't say, "Well, I'm going to take the next week off, not worry about my kids, not be concerned." Listen, there are people that may do that. And that may be part of the problem.
I hear some young mamas out there right now saying, "Yeah, give me a day off from the kid."
Yeah, just don't leave. It's it's just something that don't leave you. It's there. But again, that's what God's showing us here over the long haul. It's a process, and it's a daily thing.
Yeah.
And we want to raise our kids, teach our kids. We want them to be productive citizens.
That's right.
We always say it this way: we want to raise kids that other people enjoy being around.
That's right.
Boy, that's big, isn't it?
I love that.
But how does that look? And one of the things we talk about is we raise our kids, and one of the factors that has to always be in play is unconditional, that unconditional kind of love.
That's so true. Just the love that never stops giving.
Right.
All right. No matter how they've acted.
Yeah. And again, that unconditional, it's a godlike love. It's a love of choice. It's a love that's there.
It's the love we're loved with as God's kids, right? As His children. But we love them unconditionally, right? Again, no matter the attitude, no matter what they've done, but it is a love in action. So my love in action will respond to whatever they've done or whatever action that they have taken. Am I making sense right there? You understand what I'm trying to say?
I mean, it is love without, it's a love that cares for you. And it is not, again, not always something that's comfortable. It's a love that says, I
Right.
care for you enough that I'm willing to deal with any
Do
of
the
your
hard
issues.
stuff.
I'm willing to
That's right.
go through anything.
That's what I was trying to say, the action of it. Because I think so many times in parenting, we can misinterpret unconditional love as, they're just going to be kids or they're just going to be teenager and, we're just going to love them through it. I hear parents say that. We're just going to love them through it. And sometimes what they mean in love them through it is just, we just going to hold on till we get to the other side of it.
Again, I'm just looking through some things, but again, our tough love is I love you and I'm committed to you.
Mm-hmm.
Even when maybe you've got some practices that I'm not going to approve of,
Right.
Especially as kids get older.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what does that look like? I'm not going to sit by and let you just do anything.
That's right.
Or live anyway, or have an attitude. That's the biggie around our house. I always said attitude and effort, was huge with us because, again, you can always deal with the attitude. You can do something about your attitude. Mm-hmm. You can do something about your effort in life. You can do something about that. And
absolutely.
So it was something that even though they may not have put on display the best effort, I was not going to sit by. If I really love my kids, I'm not sitting by and allowing them to settle for less than what I believe God has put in them or God intends for them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Their capabilities.
Yeah.
You know what they're capable of. Don't let them live beneath that. The gifts, the talents, the things that they're good at. You push them in those things. That's our love for them, pushing them in those things.
Yeah.
And even things down to just making sure. I love Gary Chapman and the 5 love languages, and we refer to that book a lot, in the marriage relationship. But he does have one about the love languages of your children and realizing, how do I express unconditional love with them? Sure, it's through my guidance, my direction, my discipline, my correction, but it's also through our interaction with them. I mean, we don't have time to go there, but the time of day that most parents spend with their kids, whether it's in conversation or just getting into their world, is so minute nowadays, just in real good conversation.
So
but yeah, how do they receive love? Do they feel loved when I just go hug on them or
and
love
again,
on them, touch them?
Just affection is shown to them.
Exactly.
Just that nurture.
And that's so important from mom and from dad.
Sure it is.
I know sometimes, some people are just built more affectionate, more touchy-feely than other people. I understand that. But our kids need us, that builds confidence in them.
I think that I see this a lot with men. Men are afraid to be affectionate toward their sons now. Mm-hmm. And because, they're afraid that they may, I don't know the right word, what's politically correct word here, but may make them too soft or feminine or whatever if they're too loving. But the reality is I think that the opposite is true.
Need that, yes.
When our sons don't have that love and affection from their fathers, then it may produce a tendency in them to look otherwise. And I don't want to get too far into that, but I think that, I'd say that as fathers, our daughters, they need to have a love and affection just like with our daughters, that they know that they're loved by their father and they're not trying to fill that void of a love from a male or from their father in the mates that they pick or the spouse that they pick. And it can be destructive in that sense. So we just encourage you that we are showing that unconditional love. Again, so unconditional love that says, I refuse to sit by and allow you to do anything because I love you, not because you made me mad.
That's good.
Not because I'm frustrated. I do this because of my love. It's kind of this way. I'm looking out for your best interest.
That's it. Exactly.
You know,
Again, for the long haul,
yeah,
for eternity. It's that I am concerned about today, but I'm more concerned about your future in the next generation even. So it's not just that I'm working for today.
Yeah, and we are like God. I'm as a parent, I was with my kids. I'm always looking out for your good. I remember I tell this story sometime. I never forget. My son played baseball, and I was not a great hitter when I was growing up, and but I've always said I was a better coach at hitting because it's something that I worked on all the time. I tried to learn more about. So my son's playing baseball, and I'm always tweaking him a little bit here or there. And he got to a period in life, especially like young adolescent years, that he was really, anything I said was wrong. He didn't want to hear it. And I just stopped him one day. I was out one day, and he was the kind that always wanted to go hit, or he wanted me to go be on the field with him.
He just didn't care for you to say anything.
He just wanted me to leave him alone and do his own thing. But I was saying something to him, and I finally just stopped him and said, "Let me ask you something." I said, "Do you think I'm telling you stuff to make you a worse hitter, or to make you not a good at bat each time?" And he, in his own little pouty way, no, I don't think that. I said, "Well, why do you push against me so hard anytime I try to help you?" And I think that's true in parenting. Sometimes you kind of get that feel that they don't want to hear it. Adolescents, man, they know everything, right? They can cop an attitude really quick. But again, as a parent, I'm always looking out for what's best, and that's something, man, I got to make sure.
Pressing.
And I think you got to communicate that to your kids.
Yes, I think they have to know. And like I said, Eric said this over and over. I love you too much, and so when the direction, the correction, the discipline didn't feel good, that was reinforced with, okay, this is why, because we're working for your good here. And I believe our children truly knew that, even when it was uncomfortable, that they knew, okay, Daddy does still love me, Mama does still love me. That has to continually be reinforced. And again, as children are different and respond to discipline differently, so they receive love differently. So for some of them, I think that has to be reinforced even more.
Yeah, as mom and dad too. One of the things that's really important for you to know about this is that your children, their confidence actually is built in the corrections and disciplines that are given in love, that are nurturing and admonishing. Yeah. Those actually instill confidence, because they begin to realize my mom and dad, they love me even though I don't have it all figured out, even though I'm not perfect everywhere.
And what a beautiful example for them of the love of God.
Yeah.
Of the love that Christ has for them, that his love is the same way. Man, he's loved me when I needed a spanking.
Yeah.
He's loved me when I didn't act right, when I didn't have the right attitude.
And a spanking.
Absolutely.
Can I say that? He loved me through a spanking. And again, I know my dad, I've always said, the Bible says, man that refuses to chasten or correct his child hates his child. Well, I'll say this, my dad loved me a whole lot, because I can look back and through that discipline in my life, he's always there my dad was great at correcting and discipline. And, he definitely believed in not sparing the rod, that he believed in corporal punishment. Can I say it? He spanked us, and we got a whooping. Yeah. And he did that in such a good way, though. My daddy, he never was the kind that would just kind of fly off the handle. And, in the moment, he would make us many times. I remember many times I had to go and wait. You go to your room and wait, and I'll be in there.
You're just waiting to know what the outcome is going to be.
But through that, I think it developed a confidence and a knowing that, regardless, and he was always, my dad, you was talking about me a little while ago, who's always the kind that said, who loves you.
That's right.
And the easy answer for that, for me, and again, healthy
always reinforcing
relationship there is, who loves you. I can hear my dad, Daddy loves you. And again, I'd say yes, but it don't feel like it right now. But again, We're out of time again. This is something we probably could talk about forever because, again, we think it's so important. Boy, we are missing healthy parenting in our day. I always say it this way.
God help us, yeah.
We don't have children problems. They're acting just like they're supposed to.
So true. Kids will be kids. We have more of a parenting problem, you know, and I
got to get that straight.
We've said that for years. And
if you've not gotten it all right, start today.
That's right.
It's a place to start. It's a new day. We got to go. We're out of time.
Hey, we love you. We'll see you next time. Come back.
God bless.